So Wendell, an Asus, an MSI, and a Gigabyte walk into a...
Don't even want to hear it.
Remember when we talked about the Microsoft Surface having not enough space or whatever? Like it advertised 32 gigabytes, but there's only 16 gigabytes of usable space?
Yeah.
Well, the Surface Pro is going to be coming out, and guess how many gigabytes of usable space the 64 gigabyte version is going to have?
3?
But you're pretty close, actually. 23 gigabytes of usable storage. That's about enough for nothing in this day and age. I mean, really.
Four songs and
2 programs, and then you're done. And that's the Surface Pro. The Surface Pro will run regular Windows programs, so we're talking like Adobe Creative Suite and stuff. I don't think you'd be running that on a Surface, but you could.
Well, theoretically, you know, the Surface is supposed to be the Jesus laptop. It's not going to have an 8-hour battery life.
No.
And it's not going to weigh less than a brick.
No. It's not Jesus. It's not even Baal.
The Surface...
Ra, Mut, Ptah, none of those gods.
RT... If the Surface RT had a 1080p screen and an x86 processor, it would take over the world.
They just can't get it right. IBM Security Tool can flag disgruntled employees. Now, IBM has created this very interesting security tool. It's IBM Security Intelligence with Big Data. That's what it's called. That sounds so creepy. What are you guys using at your office? Oh, we use IBM Security Intelligence with Big Data.
How long until you're reporting to Watson? Watson is your middle manager.
That's probably coming very soon. Anyway, they got this new thing that it goes through all your correspondences at your office. It takes each employee and it looks through all their emails, and it can look for patterns. It looks through all the history of their emails as well, and it looks for certain patterns that show, you know, like, hey, Bob over here, he's disgruntled, and he doesn't like this guy, and he really doesn't like his manager. So it can show, you know, things that can lead to signs of, I don't know, just disgruntled employees. That's kind of weird. All right, you want to talk about Aaron Swartz for a little bit?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. There is a ton of things that happen. It seems like every day there's an Aaron Swartz story.
Well, there's the memorial service, and O'Reilly Media was there. They posted this, so that's kind of cool that they were there. And it's quite long, and you should take a look at it. There's a lot of people that spoke here at his memorial. And his memorial, I really hate when something like this happens because, I mean, at least they're turning a death into something that's more positive. The people are getting together. It's raising awareness, but I feel like people should have been aware and doing these things without someone having to die. You know, he didn't have to die. But now that he is, he's become a martyr for this. He's become a martyr for internet freedom. He's become a martyr for, you know, freedom of information. He's become a martyr for a lot of things, and people are...
I think it's really, really, like, as citizens, we should be super concerned that the prosecutors have not backed down or shown any remorse whatsoever. I would accept at least the tiniest bit of human compassion, and there's just none.
Reportedly, and this is from Anonymous, Anonymous says that they have been doing a lot more than they let on. They've been infiltrating .gov websites, government entities, not just the FBI. And they say they've been doing this quietly because, you know, everyone's been really tough, and the Department of Justice has been really tough, and a lot of them think that they have Anonymous on the run. So here with the death of Aaron Swartz, Anonymous finally spoke up. They made a video, and they shut down the U.S. Sentencing Commission. Now, the reason they shut down the Sentencing Commission was because the Sentencing Commission had tons of guidelines that clearly violate the Constitution. So they directly targeted that one. They released a video stating what they're doing. It's Operation Last Resort, and they seem like they're a little bit pissed right now, but let me just play a little bit of this because it says exactly what they're doing and why they shut down that website.
Guidelines which enable prosecutors to cheat citizens of their constitutionally guaranteed right to a fair trial by a jury of their peers. The federal sentencing guidelines, which are in clear violation of the 8th Amendment protection against cruel and unusual punishments. This website was also chosen due to the nature of its...
I'll link the video and you guys can watch the entire thing, but basically Anonymous is now... They're angry about this, and they're using Aaron Swartz as, I guess, a reason for their anger, but they're really angry that, you know, the justice system is going in the wrong direction in this country, and they're doing something about it. So that's what they're doing right now. And they took down that website specifically because it enabled a lot of the prosecutors to do things that were against the Constitution. So
I imagine that this is probably going to have a profoundly negative effect because most of the people in power and government right now don't really understand this kind of thing. So it's like, what do you mean they broke into our website? Well, we need to send in the Blackhawks. We need to send in the SEALs.
Send them in where? I mean, like right now, as it stands right now, they don't have any leads really, and you know the anonymous video, and apparently, according to ZDNet, they've been covering their tracks. I mean, Violet Blue's been covering this story. She's got a few articles up on this right now. Over the weekend, they were fighting with this website. You know, they were trying to get the USSC.gov was trying to regain control of their website. They couldn't, and then on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday over the weekend, they just turned it into asteroids, and now the entire website is completely down. If you try to go to the website, it's down.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to reinstall those machines from scratch.
Yeah. And Anonymous did say that they left a ton of backdoors open so that people could come in there. They were sharing files that they were obtaining from those servers. So who knows what's going to happen next. I'm kind of curious. It'd be interesting to see, you know, if they have access to other government websites like they claim they do. I mean, who are these guys? Do you think that they're that elite that they can just come and go as they please on government websites without a trace?
That's probably not going to happen. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they're saying that they're doing that right now. They're saying that they're going into these government websites and they're hacking things, and they said they have deep infiltration with the FBI and the Department of Justice and several other entities. And they say that they're covering their tracks.
The reality is that these organizations are so slow to adopt technology that it's not really all that disruptive for them. It's like, oh, they took the website down. Well, bad news, they still have reams and reams of paperwork. They still function.
Yeah.
It doesn't shut them down.
Yeah, like, oh, we got rooms of file cabinets.
Same deal with the FBI. They just pick up the phone and be like, my computer's messed up. I'll just deal with this over the phone. So unless they've got sophisticated malware rootkits on their BlackBerries, because they're still using BlackBerries, then no.
You know, there's no more RIM.
Yeah, they renamed themselves.
Yeah, so now they're just BlackBerry. Do you think that'll help them at all?
No.
They're still going to die in a fire.
This would be like the guy on the Titanic being like, we're now called, you know, Her Majesty's Starlight.
Great, you're still sinking, dude. There's still a hole in the boat. No, we've renamed everything. Everything's fine now. Well, their CEO, Frank blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Anyway, he's saying that they're basically just unifying behind mobile computing, and they're using one global brand that's recognizable, and they want to simplify everything. And I think that simplification is going to be something that's key, and it's catchy, and it's easy for the consumer. But I still think that they're going to have a product, and they're going to have apps in their app store for BlackBerry 10.
If you read between the lines, simplification means they're going to lay off 90% of their workforce and simplify the company. What RIM could do is they could do secure computing, because they got that right on the BlackBerry. I mean, the BlackBerry is one of the most secure platforms out there for mobile computing.
Yeah.
Even though it uses Java, but you know, they could do the secure computing thing on Android. Like, they could come up with some cool wrapper or virtual machine or something like that for your phone, where you can boot up your work phone image. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they seem to want to have their own operating system right now, because that's really what separates them from the other competitors out there. They could have really cool devices, run Android, wrap it up in a nice secure bundle, put their BlackBerry messaging program on there, and then have a different product that's an alternative, but also has a huge app store.
Well, they did the identical strategy with their web browser. You know, they were like, we're not going to use WebKit. We've got our own thing. We're cool. We can implement this. Mm-hmm. That cratered spectacularly, and then they implemented WebKit. But their first implementation of WebKit, they customized the crap out of it and broke everything. And then finally with BlackBerry OS 6, I think it was like a more normal WebKit. They're like, okay, we'll be good now, we promise.
Well, there's that USSC.gov. Keep trying to go here all day. Oh, wait a second. Oh, look, it's back up. It wasn't up earlier today.
Some system administrators like, I'm going to put a plain HTML file behind an Apache server behind a proxy. Let's see you hack that.
Yeah, let's see what this is here. Let's see what they're running. They're probably running WordPress. Let's go to view page source here. Just curious. Let's see what they got here. Is this just a straight up HTML page?
It looks like it might be.
I think that, the guy just slapped together an HTML page in like 30 minutes. This is either that or they're using Microsoft Front Page from what was that, 1984 or something?
Secure because it's obsolete and no one understands it anymore.
Tim down there in DC or wherever you're at putting together this website. Good job, buddy. Good. All right, let's move on. Look at the size of this drone. Norway has developed a new drone. It's got 3 cameras, a GPS, and it weighs 16 ounces. Look at the size of that thing. We need to get some of those.
That would be a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah.
There is a commercial thing. I think it's on Kickstarter or something. It was like the MeCam or the MeGo or something.
Yeah, but it wasn't this small.
It was very small.
Yeah, but this has 3 cameras.
That only had 1, I think.
And a GPS.
Yeah, the other one did not. But it could follow you around. It was like, follow me. And
Yeah.
It's like, eh.
Just chase you around.
How cool would it be to have your own personal drone following you around, filming your life?
Creepy.
We need to
Hey,
sell
but
that
that would revolutionize the reality TV world.
We need to sell that to the 1%ers. Their life is live streaming to like Ustream.tv from, a gas-powered drone.
Remind me to do this. I'll give away something. I got some things to give away. I'll give away something, but I want to know the best ideas for things that we can market to the 1%ers. And whoever has the best idea, I'll give you something. It'll be a mystery prize, okay? So the link will be in the description. Oh, by the way, we're still giving away an ADATA SSD. That'll be just for a few more days. So there's links for that in the description as well. And if you don't see the links right there, you just click on the link to Tech Syndicate. We got to make you jump through hoops. But it'll be on there. Yeah. Remind me to do that.
Commercial products for 1%ers.
Yeah. Stuff that we could monetize and make a lot of money off of your idea and then give you like a lame, mouse or something. Won't be lame, it'll be nice.
It should be a product that has no more than, 100,000 customers worldwide? 10,000 customers worldwide?
Yeah, something ridiculous. Like the Porsche television screen that folds out of your lawn. Nothing that's that expensive to develop, though. Okay, so there's a WikiLeaks movie coming out, or it's not called WikiLeaks the movie or anything like that, but it's a movie about WikiLeaks. And guess who got a copy of it because someone leaked it to him? Julian Assange. And he read the script, and he's quite upset. He says it's just basic propaganda against WikiLeaks. And he came out and made some statements here. He did a speech, whatnot. But, yeah. And it's going to be made by DreamWorks, and they're refusing to comment on this. The name of the movie is The Fifth Estate, and it's just going to be, a movie about the drama surrounding WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. So we'll see what that is. They're probably going to make him look like a huge scumbag. They've got a lot of ammo. They've been trying to paint him as like a huge scumbag for a long time, and you know what? He might be a scumbag. But that doesn't change what he's doing,
No, it really doesn't. And isn't that the definition of an ad hominem attack?
Yeah.
It's like you're attacking the person, not their message. And isn't that the first tenet of not arguing that way? Come on.
Well, apparently, he's reading the script. He said it makes him and all the people that work with WikiLeaks look like just massive jerks. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, ad hominem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing. And you know what? People fall for that kind of stuff like crazy. It wouldn't be the tech if we didn't talk about Mega and Kim.com, because that's what's going on in the world right now. So, we talked about Mega.nz or .co.nz.co, I don't know. Mega.co.nz, right?
Yes.
Yes. We talked about that. I have been using Mega. In fact, I sent Linus. Linus, what's up, man? I sent Linus a file of all the Skyrim mods because he's going to be retesting all the benchmarks that we did. And if he doesn't get the right answers, I'm going to drive up there to Canada and get really cold and drive right back. I don't know. I'm not going to threaten Linus.
We've also got some new Z77 motherboards, and so we also will be doing more tests.
Yes, and we have this. Ugh. God, it's heavy. I didn't even need to go to the gym today because I unboxed this thing. It's the Asus Direct CU 27970. Oh, is that okay right there? Is that in my way? I can't reach. I'm going to go back over there. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, yeah, we got that graphics card. So we'll test them out again. I don't even care. Anyway, I've been using Mega, and it works well when it works. And none of my files have been taken down yet, but there's a lot of weird things going on right now. There's been a ton of DMCA takedown notices, and Mega seems to be just removing the files. And they're removing files that are legal. Just because, there's a bogus DMCA takedown, they don't want any trouble, they remove the files. And some of the users are complaining right now. In fact, there's a metal website, this, heavy metal group, I forgot their name here. What's the name?
Well,
Decay.
Some of Kim.com's own music was taken down using the takedown request thing.
Yeah. So they've made it extremely easy for things to be removed. One band is like, hey, we uploaded our stuff, and it was taken down even though we own the stuff. And so they're a little worried. They say, I'm quite shocked that they would take out my insignificant 100% legal content in the blink of an eye. So that's what's happening. If you put up something, someone puts a DMCA in it, takedown notice, it's taken down.
There's probably some mafia boss somewhere that gave some nerd $10,000 to write a script to just try to take everything down.
Yeah.
So there's just automated requests. They need to add a couple of captchas or something to the takedown request thing.
Well, there's also megasearch.me. Have you seen that? Mega-search.me.
They're adding a search engine to Mega.
Mm-hmm. And here's the way this works. If you upload something, it does not automatically become indexed because there's no real way to index those encrypted files. But if you upload, let's say you upload a movie, Spavatar. All right, you upload Spavatar, and you go to megasearch.me, and you say, hey, I've uploaded Spavatar. Here's a link to it. They index that. So you have to upload it. You do the work yourself. It's almost like, one of these torrent websites where you upload the torrent yourself. But you just upload it there and then put the link on megasearch.me, and then there it is. People can find it. It's indexable. And I guess all the layer of protection, since you can upload anonymously to Mega, that's going to be a mess. So that's what's going on in that. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. But yeah, Mega, the functionality is not there, and a lot of people are losing their files. So Dropbox has been guaranteed massive success because Ballmer dismissed them as a little startup. They have 100 million users, and Ballmer says, oh, it's just a little startup. No big deal. Ballmer has a history of doing this sort of thing. It's it's almost like the reverse kiss of death. Like, he looked at the iPhone, and you remember this, right?
Yeah, he looked at the iPhone, and he had, like, this sneezing laugh, and he's like, this is never going to work. It doesn't do email. And it's like, do you see how
he was
awesome
also
this
upset
thing
that it
is?
didn't have a keyboard. He's like, there's no keyboard. What are you going to do, slap the thing? Yes, you're just going to sit there and slap the thing because they're going to create apps where all you have to do is just slap it all day long for Angry Birds and stuff. Just, what are you doing there on the train in New York? It'd be like, I was sitting on the train, like a rhesus monkey just hanging out, and I look around me, and there's like 90 people, children, women, preachers, businessmen, businesswomen, all sitting there just like, flicking birds, flicking birds. It's going to work, Ballmer. And then with Android, he was like, Android, they're not making any license fees with all the third-party, manufacturers. They're not going to work. Android works. So, yeah, Dropbox, he's giving it the reverse kiss of death. As soon as stock is available in Dropbox, buy it.
Ballmer is sort of off his rocker.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. Does Ballmer have like a blog? I'm going to go on there, and whatever he blogs about, if he says something negative about a company, I'm going to invest so much stock in that company.
There's a fake Steve Jobs thing that was hilarious before Steve Jobs died. There needs to be a fake Steve Ballmer. That was the name of the Twitter account, was like fake Steve Jobs, and they kept trying to shut it down, and it turned into this epic thing. More
security stuff. Japan has introduced an amazing real-time 3D cyber attack alert system. Now, this is pretty interesting. I'm just going to play the video here, but they've created this thing, Daedalus, ominous name. What it does is it basically just puts a 3D front end to something. It's almost like Snort, but they can detect what's bad and what's good. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it looks like one part sci-fi and one part, network intrusion analysis system, and one part a bunch of engineers were really bored for about 6 months.
It's monitoring 190,000 IP addresses in real time. And you've got the central hub there in the middle, and all the circles around the outside are all the different companies that hub is monitoring. And it just shows the traffic, but it's really pretty and interesting to watch. That's what's cool about this, is just the system is pretty wild to watch. We've got stuff like this out there. I mean, there's other technologies. It's nothing that's that new. It's just taking the technology and presenting it in a way that makes people in the real world go, oh, look at pretty. Because some of the graphs that you look at and stuff, they wouldn't understand that.
It's a neat network analysis tool. You could throw this up on a 60-inch TV in a data center and have everything.
Have the whole Deus Ex feel going.
Yeah.
We need to get about 10 of these running and just put them all over the walls. And
that would be awesome.
So a judge has ruled that Apple, in the Apple versus Samsung case, Samsung did not willfully infringe on Apple's patents. This is what we've been saying for a long time here, but I don't want to go too into this because I'm just so sick of this case. It's worse than the O.J. Simpson trial. I mean, it really is. Remember the O.J. Simpson trial? I just wanted my life back because I
remember the O.J. Simpson chase, and so you could say that this case is like the O.J. Simpson car chase down the interstate.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what goes on with that. I'm sure that there'll be some more back and forth in this. Apple wanted an additional $400 million on top of the billion, so no, they're not going to get that. I didn't put this in our notes, but I wanted to just show this. There's a German activist group, and I think this is an organic response to all the surveillance that's going on. These guys are, wearing all black and running around Germany, destroying all the surveillance systems. And putting their video on the internet. It looks kind of creepy. I mean, they all run around public places and they're wearing like ski masks and everything like that. Aren't they going to get like shot at or something?
Yeah, if it was DC, snipers would have already taken them out.
Yeah, but it's Berlin. They're like, they're going to some like goth fetish party or something. It's just Berlin. Nobody worries about them. Like, oh, a bunch of masked guys. Yeah. That's just probably Steve and his friends, or Sven and his friends.
I think the deal with CCTV is it doesn't affect the crime rate, but it does increase the solve rate.
So Micron now has the slide to unlock patent.
Dun dun dun.
And they're asserting that their slide to unlock patent The original application was all the way back in February of 2000, predating Apple's in 2004. So now they may have the slide to unlock.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is getting way out of hand here. So let's see what happens. Who's going to get sued now?
Every time we talk about these patents, I'm imagining a supervillain in a volcano with like a fancy high-back chair. He spins around. He's like, yes, we have the patent to slide to unlock now.
Yeah, good. Oh, so Micron is now the evil villain. Maybe they've been the masterminds behind all this, and all of a sudden everything's going to be patented by then.
Well, it remains to be seen what they're going to do with it. So, I mean, maybe, but maybe not. But, next week we could just as easily be reporting on, the patent for the transistor or the patent for the capacitor or something.
Yeah, from 1900.
Yeah. Well, this isn't just a new capacitor; it's some other capacitor. This is a problem in the drug industry. Like, they'll take a drug whose patent is about to expire, and make some very minor change on it, stop producing the no longer patented drug, and then sell the new drug under a new name, but it's really just the old drug. And so this is happening in technology now. Let's talk about hardware.
Well, Nokia has received a $1.35 billion grant to develop the strongest material ever tested. It's like 300 times tougher than steel, and it's really lightweight. It's graphene. Have you heard of this?
Graphene, yes. It's the asbestos of the 21st century.
It's 1 atom thick.
It's basically a nanoscale material that's a designer material, and that's what makes it so strong and so unique. But there hasn't really been a lot of environmental testing with nanoscale materials. It could turn out to be one of the most caustic things ever, because when like carbon nanotubes get loose in the inner workings of like your cells, it turns bad fast.
Probably just die.
Yeah,
quickly.
Pretty much.
I cannot wait for Ivy Bridge EX and Ivy Bridge E in general. Really need one of these. Let's talk about Ivy Bridge EX. That's going to be the new Xeon parts that are going to be coming out soon. They're going to have up to 15 cores.
Wow.
It's like 30 threads.
It's going to be awesome.
30 megabytes of L3 cache. So there's a bunch of parts listed here on Tom's website, and they will also support DDR4. So we'll start seeing some motherboards like that come out. But what I'm really interested in is the Ivy Bridge E HEDT. That's the high-end desktop parts. Now, we're going to start seeing some high-end desktop parts in the 8-core and the 10-core flavor. And the lowest, I guess the bottom line, is going to be a 6-core.
Even though they came out with socket 6 cores for socket 1366, I consider those half-assed parts, and they technically abandoned 1366.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll come out with 2011 and then like 2012. And so there'll be like 2 parts for 2011 that are 6 or 8 core that are this new thing, but maybe not. Maybe Intel will do the right thing.
You know what else is going to be nice? The new NVIDIA, the Titan.
Ooh.
Because before they were saying that their next card is not going to be as fast as the GTX 690. But now they're saying, you know what? It is faster than the GTX 690. And it's a single GPU card. This one scored 7107. So 6,000 points to 7107. It's a pretty big jump for, going from a GTX 690 to a single GPU. Now, there's also some rumors saying that it's not going to be branded in the same way. We won't see the GTX, it's not going to be a GTX 780 or whatever. They're just saying it's going to be called the Titan. It's supposed to be $899, so.
I want
Who's going to send us one?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
To play with. See if it's faster than that 7970 over there.
What's the $300 part going to be?
I have no idea. But they could be out around the end of February. So around a month, we might start seeing some of these float around. So somebody send us one. EVGA, Asus, Gigabyte, somebody send us one. We're going to play with it. We'll send it back, whatever you want. We just want to play with it. Here's Gabe Newell being awesome. This is kind of, so some guy, I guess they're having like a meeting or whatever. Gabe was speaking somewhere. I think it was Texas or Austin. He was speaking in Austin at a university in Austin. So people are coming up and they're getting him to sign things, and someone asked him to sign his horse's head. So, sure enough, the next thing you know, he puts on the horse's head and poses for a picture. I thought that was pretty funny. And then he puts up 2 fingers like, what's up? And they kept asking him to put up 3 fingers, and here's his response. So Gabe's a real sport. That's how he interfaces with his audience.
All jokes aside, he really does need to get his ass in gear on the whole 3.
So anyway, about Gabe Newell, he said that the Steam box, the biggest competition for the Steam box is Apple, not Sony, not Nintendo, Apple. And the reason he says this is that Apple's been hinting for a long time about, making some sort of a console. They haven't done so, and well, the last time they did make a console was Pippin.
Oh yeah, the Pippin.
All right, there it is. So there's the Apple Pippin, right? And Bandai, they go from making toys to making a Pippin, right? There it is, the Pippin. So Apple, the last thing that they did was the Pippin, and I'm sure that they remember the pain from the Pippin. The Pippin was a lot of pain. And the reason that Gabe Newell says that Apple is the biggest competition is because Apple would go in there and just try to close down everything. That's what they do. And he wants to have more of an open source feel to everything. He doesn't want Apple in there closing. I don't see that as being direct competition, though.
Well, no, but, okay, here's what Gabe's really worried about. He's worried about Apple overnight taking over the living room because it's kind of already happened with the ecosystem of Apple devices. Like Scrabble put out that game this is like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If you get when the iPad first came out, the iPad 1, you could get Scrabble, and you could have 4 players with iPhones playing Scrabble on an iPad. And so you lay an iPad on a table, and it's the Scrabble thing, and then your individual pieces are on your individual iPhone. Well, this is a very similar setup to what we have now today with the Wii. So you have your Wii controller that has, the touch screen and all this stuff, and you're doing stuff on the living room. So, literally tomorrow, Apple could come out with a software update for iTunes or Apple TV or something, and then all of a sudden, all these iOS developers could be writing games where you play a little bit of the game on your phone or use your phone as a controller, but you're also playing on television.
But the question I have is that really going to be competition for Steam? Because Steam games in general, they cater to a different audience entirely. I mean, there's the casual audience. You've got Peggle and you've got stuff like that on. Then there's a lot of little indie games, and there's a lot of games that are very basic and simple on Steam. But you're not going to be playing Half-Life 3 on an iPad.
No, that's completely true. But you also have to look at Steam and Greenlight, because now they're making a ton of money from independent developers and puzzle platformers and things like that. And so that is a huge money tree.
Would that go away if Apple made a device? I don't think so. Or if Apple released a software update, like you said, I don't think that would go away. I think Apple would be more in competition with Nintendo.
Well, I think, Apple would definitely be more in competition with Nintendo, and Steam would have its core product set to fall back on. But the amount of money they're investing in Steambox, they need the revenue of both their old guard games and the casual gamers.
Yeah. I do want to get into this, because the CEO of EA, all of a sudden he likes pirates. He likes piracy. He's encouraging people to pirate their games, and he sees The Sims 3, all the different pirates that have The Sims 3, he likes them now. So did something happen? Did one day he wake up and be like, wait a minute, the world is a different place, and we can make money on the pirates and on the regular consumers that purchase our products in the stores? So let me scroll down to the bottom here to really get to the heart of what he's saying. The real idea he has here is moving to more of a services type market, where you buy a game and then you have the game, and what you're really going to be paying for over the next year as you're playing the game are all the different services. So the download packages, the freaking hats, extra content, monthly subscription fees for various different things. So he wants to move to a market like that, and therefore he wants people to pirate the stuff because they're going to get hooked on the games, and then they're going to want to buy the DLC and the extra packages and the in-game items and, microtransactions, etc. He went so far as to say, to this reviewer here on Industry Gamers, by the way, if there are any pirates out there you're writing for, please encourage them to pirate FIFA Online, NBA Street Online, Battleforge, Battlefield Heroes. If they would just pirate lots of it, I'd love them. Because he wants them to buy stuff once they get in the game.
Meh. Too little, too late. And it's still EA.
It's still EA. Which makes me feel like they're going to destroy their games with their in-game markets and their money-making techniques. That's the problem, is they're always greedy.
There's no better company to go work for if you're a programmer, if you would like your soul to be crushed into a fine powder.
We met some programmers that had worked at EA when we were at PAX. Sorry, Totoro. And they were nice about it to the extent of like, hey, how was working at EA? They were just like, I don't want to talk about it. And they would hide under a desk for a while and shiver. This is an interesting article, though, showing how the video games industry is helping to fund the arms manufacturers. Here's the way this works. If you're making a video game and you want it to be very accurate, you want real guns in your game. Well, the makers of these real guns won't just allow you to use their guns, the likeness and the name of their gun. You're going to have to rename it, or you're going to have to go to them and pay a licensing fee. This is Eurogamer.net. They're doing this expose article. They contacted several game developers, and none of them wanted to talk about it. None of them wanted to talk about anything that had anything to do with firearms. I think a lot of it's right now, there's a lot of sensitivity about what's going on in America right now with people shooting each other like crazy wild animals. Like you do when you get, when you're in America and you... It's just what you do over here.
It's just the climate we have here in America because the island, everybody but the 1%ers are on an increasingly shrinking island, and so it's a little dog eat dog.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the guns and being accuracy, it's also sound. I mean, we worked on a project a couple of years ago, and it was a huge project because they wanted to get sounds of, weapons and silenced weapons, and this weapon with this, this upper, and this weapon with this lower, and blah, blah, blah. So it's really neat how much work goes into making the video games more and more and more realistic.
So I want you guys to take a look at this article if you have interest in it. But it does show how some of the different weapons manufacturers charge royalty fees and that sort of thing, and how they get their money. And a lot of these weapon manufacturers see the gamers as potential future customers. So they enjoy the fact that there's like 12, 13, 14-year-olds playing these games because, they're getting used to these weapons, and they want the weapons to be very accurate. They want them to be very lifelike, because if people become enthusiastic about the games and the weapons that are in the games, maybe in the future they'll want to have one of those guns hanging above their mantelpiece or something like that. So it's almost like cigarettes in movies, guns in games. That makes any sense. And you've also got a lot of games out there that slightly change the name of the gun or something like that. So you see that out there too. But it's an interesting article. It's a bit long, so I don't want to go all the way into it, but it was a very interesting read. And it also talks about how all the guns in GoldenEye, if you remember GoldenEye for the N64, they're all modeled after real-world guns, but they have totally different names. And the other thing that's interesting about this, movies and stuff, they don't have to license the weapons, they just use them. But in video games, they do. So I'm not sure why that is. Thank you guys for pitching in with the chip in. Pitch in with the chip in.
Pitch in with the chip in.
Yeah.
Pitch in with the chip in.
Copyright it.
Micron will patent it.
Micron will patent it. They had a patent on it before the Apple did. So yeah, subscribe. It's down here. Anything else we need to announce? T-shirts didn't sell very well in January, but they sold amazingly well in December, probably because I didn't announce the T-shirts that often. Guys, we have T-shirts, so check out the T-shirts if you like. Zweihander's doing very well, so thanks, guys. Everything's doing well. Everything's just peachy, okay?
Unfortunately, it wasn't doing well enough for you to eat a spoonful of cinnamon.
Nope. And I'm not standing on my head on the table either, because nobody purchased Zweihander for $1,000. I'm trying to make another album. That's what I really was going to do with that money. I was going to take a couple days off and finish up this album. So, and go to Bermuda. Why would I want to go to Bermuda? I hate hot weather and beaches. I want cold weather. I'll go to Norway. You guys better have a stout waiting for me when I get there, and some metal concerts lined up. We'll do this. Yeah. That's the end of the show. Go do something fun.
Would this have happened had it been Pinterest?
Is that website still going?
I don't even know. It's just...
That's one of the reasons I don't go onto Facebook anymore. That's among the myriad of other reasons, is freaking Pinterest. Like, a lot of my friends are into Pinterest, are people, I don't want to call them friends. Some of my acquaintances are people I bumped into, or someone that fell on my foot at a bar, and all of a sudden they add you the next day on Facebook. You know that works when you go out somewhere, and someone bumps into you, and you're like, hi, okay, then you leave, right? That person adds you the next day on Facebook, and you're like, this is creepy. Happens to me all the time in New York City. Like, someone fall down the stairs, and I'd catch their milk. And I'd be like, here's your milk, sir. Add me on Facebook the next day.
I don't have any friends. I've never experienced this.
Yeah, you haven't lived in a... Well, you've lived in... Yeah, you haven't been in close quarters with people like living in New York City.
I'm not a people person.
Yeah. I don't mind people. They're delicious. A bit ridiculous.
I like Lewis Black's skit about the, the Adelphia people having the $30,000 umbrella stand.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, they over a period of a few years, they stole like $1 billion, because they got to buy shit. It was a $25 million, I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
He was like, they got a $30,000 umbrella stand. He's like, my parents have an umbrella stand. It's called a bathtub.